Okay. Okay, I think I have everything in order. Let's get this thing put together. Did I just have PCSL? I don't even remember. I put RO32 on it. Hang on, you can hear some of my audio, probably. Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, I just put PCSL. Okay. Seems good. Okay, let's just hop in. Do my intros during the game. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We're going to finish up the last of the round of 32 here. We have 3 series for you that I'm going to be casting today. I will be solo casting all of these. It's going to be Worst versus Wizard, Dexter versus Jiraiya, and Love Snow versus Goose. So I'm going to try and knock these out so we can start casting the round of 16 probably tomorrow. So yeah, for this first series, we got Worst versus Wizard. Worst, a pretty solid A rank Protoss. I think his specialty is PvZ. He's kind of well known for. He's like he's kind of the go-to guy for players to ask, especially like B rank players and stuff to ask about PvZ builds. I'm pretty sure plays pretty much Forge Expand exclusively. I don't know if he plays Gateway Expand at all. We're gonna find out. It's actually gonna be a 9 pull for Wizard though already, but Worst is gonna get that first scout, and again, especially playing Forge Expand, this is gonna be a pretty big advantage for Worst already. It's going to be 9 full speed even for Wizard, so yeah, actually just goes for the drone trick, is what he does here. So not going to be 9 full speed, but still going to be a little bit low on eco. Worst is just going to be able to drop his Forge and go Cannon before Nexus, and he should be completely fine. So he'll have a little bit of that worker lead to start this game off. Yeah, you can go for that 12 Forge. It's you don't have to optimize, like you don't need to get like perfect Forge timing or anything like that. In these situations, you can always kind of delay it a little bit, so you just optimize your mining a little bit, so Yeah, he dropped the forge, a little over 300 minerals, but it's completely fine to do. You're just mining a little bit better. Lings are going to be started. It's going to be 6 lings, and I'm actually curious if Worst is going to go for double cannon, or if he goes single cannon and pulse probes. This is something that is kind of heavily debated amongst Protoss players. The correct response to this is going to be. Annoyingly drops that pylon as well, and yeah, he is going to go double cannon. This is what I lean more towards as well, so I'm actually happy to see that he's doing it. And the reason this is an issue, right, is because a single cannon doesn't stop 6 lings. You actually have to pull probes. When you do double cannon, it actually allows you to go back to mining with your probes. So if you don't make the double cannon, it's like you have a single cannon, then basically your probes are going to have to sit out here and kind of block the wall until your zealots are out. And yeah, you saw he did pull 2 probes. This was basically to make sure he didn't get up the ramp because the cannons were like slightly, it's a little bit questionable on whether or not they would have finished in time to fully block the lings, but yeah, pulls the 2 probes. Did end up going for that probe, so. And you see it already in the worker count, right? Just Worst already up 4 workers right now. Has to take this far third as well because of this pylon block, so definitely not a great start for a wizard so far. Was definitely hoping to get a little bit of free damage with that 9 pool, and I'm not gonna find it. So third base is going to come down as the gas is finishing. Worst on the other side, I expect we're going to see a gas starting here relatively soon. Does have to get that pylon so it doesn't get supply blocked, of course. So I think the next thing we're going to see is that gas. And there it is. Going to send a probe out as well. This is something obviously super important. I mean, I know it's obvious you should be scouting, but this is really important because you want to know if your opponent's like, is he massing Ling? If we can get lucky and see, like, did he go Hydrogen, or is he just going Lair, that kind of thing. Wants to also just kind of confirm the 6 o'clock base here. Just always good to get that information so you can kind of get an idea of how you want to be proceeding through the game. So probe going to come down here, going to see this drone coming down, sees the finished base, so now he knows this is what he took as a natural, or as a second base. So confirming that, he can now swing over here, and he'll see the 3rd hatchery, so it's not going to be like any... He'll know then that it's not any crazy 2-base shenanigans. And in the meantime, just going to be nice and standard here from Worst. We're going to see that Cyber Core finishing up pretty soon, and the Stargate will come down right after. Ling's going to be chasing this probe, but pretty good control from Worst, making sure not to get it picked off in the middle of the map there. Second gas coming down, actually a little bit before Stargates. It's a little bit sooner than I normally see, but I think it's good to do. There's like a little bit of variation you can do, right? But you can never really overmine gas as Protoss. So the earlier gas obviously does mean less mineral income, but you get that extra gas, better for tech. And of course, if you ever get, you know, that extra gas, if you're ever banking a lot of gas, you can always just jump into High Templar. Always good in this matchup. I mean, Protoss has like the most efficient gas dump of any race, I think. Unfortunately, the Zealot is going to get caught out pretty much immediately, and isn't going to kill a single Ling even before it dies, so not a great Zealot from Worst so far. And a few extra Lings were made and going to pick off that probe. So, yeah, he was thinking, at least because he pulled these Lings out this way, he might be able to sink the probe in, but there were 5 more Speed Lings sitting back at home. Looks like it's just going to be Spire, more hatcheries from Wizard. You know, he is on that single gas, so could just be a Scourge, not even looking for Muta potentially. So I expect we're going to see a Hydrogen come down soon. I mean, I think you can go Muta off of a single gas. You can do, like, I guess 5 Muta. Maybe a pair of Scourge or something like that. But it's not going to be a heavy commitment either way. And yeah, there's the Hydrogen. Worst going for the second gateway in the natural. I've seen people doing this. I think it's for a couple reasons. You kind of hide your production a little bit, but also it's just having this extra gateway back here kind of near your cannons already is actually a good place to be producing your High Templar. Because if you're making your High Templar up here, they're very easy snipe targets for the Mutalisks as they're coming out. So it's just a little bit safer, I think, to have this extra gateway down here. But like I said, it is a little bit early, so this is going to get extra Zealot production. It's not like crazy early, so it's nothing like really fancy or hidden, but... Yo, Ermon, thanks for the raid, man. I appreciate it. If you want to come cast with me, you can. Alright, 2 Scourge are going to fly in here. I'm just going to get a little bit of scouting done. Cannon actually pretty well placed near the Stargate, so going to pick off 1 Scourge. 3 Corsair out for worst already. And he might be stopping at 3. I do sometimes see Protoss will stop at that 3 if there's not really much meter being made. In this case, it seems to be actually a pretty good call. This is 2 pair of Scourge were made. And actually going to get that Scourge picked off as well. But it's pretty much all Hydra production behind this for a Wizard. Pretty low drone count, just sitting on 31 drones, pumping off of this 5-hatch, so it's going to be a more aggressive style. It's that 5-hatch Hydra style instead of that 6-hatch, so a little bit less macro, but a lot more early potential pressure for these Hydra. 5-hatch can be a little bit misleading. It feels really, really powerful in the beginning, but it does kind of die off for the Zerg once the first army kind of gets stifled. We see some attempted fancy Corsair micro there. Speedlot's going to be running across the map. Does have his +1 attack, but a lot of Hydras coming out here for Wizard. And yeah, we're just pumping army as Wizard is a little bit supply blocked, actually. Yeah, waiting for Overlords, but these Zealots going to run out. Actually get called, so several Zealots going to go down essentially for free here. And we only have 2 cannons. High Templar just now coming out. Storm not yet finished, so we're gonna have to make these cannons back here, and it's actually a little bit of a scary moment for worst. I mean, this is a lot of Hydra coming up here. We lost a lot of our Zealots in our buffer, and like I said, we don't have Storm yet. Gonna try to pull some probes here, and Wizard finding pretty decent damage. Gonna try and push through here and get on top of these tanks. Storm just about done, but the cannons are gonna be going down, and this actually might just be it for worst here. It's gonna be more Hydra streaming across the map. Cannon's just now finishing. I mean, we're going to be able to get 1 Storm off, but I mean, that's not really going to save us at this point. Bunch of Templar in production, but that is it. We have 1 High Templar, 4 in production, and GG is going to be called. Wizard's going to take this first game. Wow. Oh, let me... I guess do this. Really need to make a transition green at some point. How you guys doing today? How is everybody? Okay guys, we're hopping into game 2 here of Worst versus Wizard. Worst did pick Eclipse as the map that he wants to play on, so... Yeah, for the first time, pretty much, it's someone didn't pick Radion for the second map, but... I think Protoss kind of doesn't like Radion against Zerg, so it kind of makes sense. Wizard once again going for that 9 pull, interestingly enough. Even though it didn't really work out for him in the beginning and he actually was a bit behind, he did catch Worst off guard with that 5-hatch Hydra pressure there, and yeah, maybe feeling like the 9-hatch or 9 pull's completely fine. So same opener for a Wizard. I mean, maybe he just likes making the Protoss make the 2 cannons. Maybe that's enough that he's satisfied. I do personally feel like it is Protoss' favorite when that happens, but yeah, Wizard might not feel the same way. I might minimize my talking just a little bit. I do have 3 series that I'm going to be solo casting. And as you guys know, I have a notoriously weak voice. Looks like we're gonna get that supply block again. Or pylon block, rather. If he wants to go for it, we'll see. Yep. So there's the pylons, sixlings on the way. And yeah, pretty much identical openers to the first game. Wizard gonna opt for this far natural, or far base instead. See if Worst wants to cancel. Looks like he doesn't. Wants to make the lings go for it if they want to. Two lings are gonna be pulled off and go for it. Actually would like to have seen him cancel in time, but it actually kills the drone here, so Wizard's natural is gonna be very, very late. Now he's just gonna wait for the lings to kill this, and actually because of that probe killing that drone, it seems crazy good for Worst to have not canceled that pylon, so I was wrong about that. Looks like two lings also ran in and died to these cannons, so everything started going even better for Worst than it did last game. Gas coming down now for Wizard. Gonna be looking towards taking this third base now. But like I said, everything definitely a bit behind. Probe kind of tucked away, hiding here. Wizard is looking for it and is going to end up finding with these two lings on the side. Third base went down. Gas is up. We only put one on mining for now. Okay, there we go. Now 4 on mining to make up for the 1. Yeah, what's up, Com? So, a little bit of a mistake there for Wizard, which I feel like Berserk, this hurts more than anything else, because, I mean, their drone count typically is a lot lower than the other races, so this mistake right here actually pretty painful, especially after we lost that drone in the beginning. There we did notice and fix, and are we going to go straight for the lair? Yes, we are. Pretty well expected. Worst does a pretty good job with his probe. He's very good at keeping it alive for a pretty long time, getting as much information as possible. Confirms the third base, you know. Saw that the lair timing maybe a little bit late because of the opening. And yeah, I'm just going to come back home with that probe now, satisfied. Sending the Zealot across, kind of recognizing, hey, you've only got 4 lings right now, you lost 2 of those in the beginning. My probe has 2 chasing it, so I'm going to sneak this Zealot out. Wizard did see it with his Overlord, but did he actually see it is the question. We don't see any additional lings being made, and these 2 lings are chasing it all the way to the far corner. So another kind of nuisance here for Wizard, gonna have to make more lings. And yeah, we see another pair start. So there's pretty much nothing to stop this. Well, I said the Zealot's gonna get tucked, but actually there's not really a good spot for the Zealot to tuck. So just gonna interrupt the mining a little bit, which is already pretty decent damage. Additional Zealot coming across the map while this is happening. Even kills 1 drone. Gets that one down to 1 tap away. So, I mean, already way more than enough damage. I mean, we killed 1 drone, we interrupted the mining, we forced all these lings just for this 1 extra Zealot. And another Zealot going to be going to the third base, which will have a really nice place to tuck if he wants to get there. And we'll see if Wizard gets over to that in time. And actually, we're just going to turn around as that Zealot gets picked off. And while this is happening, Worst, once again, he manages to get this probe that's been alive this whole time, slips into the main base, confirms the spire, and yeah, pretty much everything going pretty much perfectly for Worst so far, I think. Probably see some cannons coming down on the mineral line relatively soon. You know, he saw the spire coming, so he knows he's got time. And this time we'll see if he commits to more Sarah, or if he just leaves it at 3 Sarah again. Yeah, because the spire is late, he gets to fly across the map. Did unfortunately miss this Overlord, and not going to find one in the main either. So, could have got maybe 2 Overlords if we happen to have gone straight for 1 here. And why are we actually going to get 0 Overlords? He's scouting the map. Unfortunately, missing everything. And Scourge are on the way now, so... yeah, a bit unlucky actually for Worst. Didn't manage to find anything. It's called Sword. I can check it out after, sure. I do like roguelikes. And yeah, this time worst is up to 4. 4's there. We'll see if he keeps wanting to add more, if he's just going to stop at 4. Actually, was this 3? Oh. My bad. Thought we had another one on the map. Okay, so yeah, we stopped at 3 there again. And pretty much identical build to the previous game from worst. There's basically no variance whatsoever. The only difference is he got a bit more damage. Just the early game went better. Got a bit more damage with his Zealot than, you know, 0 compared to last game. Got that drone kill with his probe, so... yeah, just a much nicer game for worst. Same thing, but nicer. And it looks like Wizard once again going for this kind of 5-hatch Hydro Pressure build, so we're basically watching the same game but on a different map. Zealot's coming out, +1 is done. Legs are just about done. Maybe a little bit late, actually. I think. I'm actually not entirely sure what the leg timing typically is. Zealots did unfortunately get split across the map as well. This can happen on this map if you're not paying attention, so... a little bit of a nuisance for worst. Kind of has the Zealots randomly pitter-pattered around, but there's enough Hydras out at this point that Wizard can easily hold. I mean, we're stopping at 32 drones. Last time, what was it, 31, 32 to the 44 of worst, so... like I said, a lot of similarities between this game, just a lot cleaner for worst so far. Confirms the Hydra starts his cannons earlier this time, and worst is going to be completely fine here. Now Wizard adding a few more drones, so not even going to go for the pressure this time. Looks like Overlord speed is done. Got our +1 attack on the way for Wizard. Gonna start that DT. Pretty classic to make just the one DT. And looks like we're just content to be massing Hydra. I mean, you see it here at the 3rd base, the saturation is a bit low. We're gonna pop a few more drones to try and get this properly saturated. We're just once again just scouting around the Zealot. Just getting whatever kind of information you can, see how many Hydras we're dealing with. Maybe get into the main base, but not gonna happen. Range almost done with the Hydra speed. He is on that triple gas, so I expect that we're gonna see lurkers right after range is done. But Robo already finishing up here. Yeah, we're just banking energy with our Templar. We're chilling. We're chilling right now. Zerg is catching up in that drone count now. Does have that 3rd nice and saturated. Natural maybe a little bit low. Main's okay, right? I mean, typically with Zerg, like, you're looking for 1 per patch, like minimum. A few extra, always good, of course, if you can afford to do so. +1 armor just about done for worse as well, which is pretty big. And we're actually already going into the kind of heavy goon count. Rebuilding the forge on the backside. Probably not going to start an upgrade when this one finishes. Actually going to start breaking his own eggs and coming out. So part of what he's looking for is he wants to start coming out before the Lurker Contain would start. Yeah, Lurker is about halfway done, but Hydra's still on the other side of the map, so he doesn't know though, right? He doesn't know how many Hydras are here. How many Hydras are lurking outside of his base, right? But with his observer coming out, he's going to be waiting for goon range, and then I imagine he's going to start looking to push out. Because he doesn't know, right? There easily could be the entire Zerg army out here making lurkers right now. He does see these Hydras at least coming for this 4th base. And we should see the 2nd armor upgrade starting pretty soon. Fourth base on the way for Wizard. Bunch of defensive lurkers being morphed. Wizard being extremely passive this game compared to last game. Few Zealots gonna run out here and kind of see, hey, there's not really much out here right now, so we're very comfortably gonna step out now. Might not even expend a storm. Does actually shoot 1 storm off. Kind of misses though. I think did more damage to a Zealot than he did the Hydra there. But we've all been there. And yeah, just a very defensive game from Wizard so far. Kind of 5-hatch Hydra into defensive play, which is a little bit unique. Wizard gonna look to try and take out this third base, but third base has not started yet. Probe just now coming out. And usually when you're hitting that like 13-minute mark, you're kind of getting close to the latest that you want to be taking this third as Protoss. Getting around that time. Gonna get up here with these goons, clean up these Hydras, and start this third base. So pretty good cleanup for worse there. We are up 30 supply right now, but that's pretty typical for this matchup around this time of the game. DT gonna try and poke in and snipe off some drones, but gonna get pushed away by this Lurker and Hydra on the top side. Got the energy upgrade pretty early, actually. I don't normally see it that early, but I really like it. And this is something, I'm gonna harp on this again, I harp on it all the time. I think low high Templar counts is actually better than really, really high. So like 4, 5, 6 high Templar is pretty much the maximum that you want. Because once you're getting too many high Templar, it starts becoming extremely difficult to manage, and you're like searching all your high Templar for energy and things like that. You know, he has 4 high Templar here, but he's got the energy upgrade. He has so many storms available. Assuming the Hydras don't, or the Lurkers, sorry, the high Templar don't get picked off like that at pretty high energy though. Which unfortunately we are actually bleeding off without casting a lot of our storms. Goons stepping a little far forward because they didn't have vision of the Lurker, so trade not going as well as it could. Unfortunately, killed our own observer as well. But still trading relatively well. But we are out of storms. Well, we got one more storm coming up. We do actually have this additional observer. Sorry, I did not see that. Pretty nice storm too, hitting 3 of these Lurkers pretty well. Gonna clean up a lot of these Lurkers. And this is that moment where you gotta be a little bit careful now, right? The fight went really, really well for us so far. But you have to be careful not to overstay when you don't have storms left, because the reinforcements from Zerg will swallow your army up. And that is exactly what we're seeing happen right here. All these goons gonna get cleaned up, that observer going down, zealots trying to rush in and help, but they're kind of getting picked off for free. And yeah, this is a really common thing I see quite often in this matchup, where it's, hey, I had all these storms, this fight was going great, I'm gonna keep going because I think I might be able to kill him now, you know? And then you run out of storms and all their reinforcements come out, and it's like, oh, I don't have any splash for all these Hydras and Lings anymore. So, something I say to people quite often, when you're winning the fight and it's going really well and you run out of energy, it's okay to leave, you know? Obviously, it depends like what your reinforcements are and kind of on the game state, but most of the time it's like, hey, take your win, you know, you made him make a lot of units, you traded really well with all your energy, back up, get your energy back, replenish a couple of your Templar and do it again. That being said, it was still a good trade for worst. I mean, he's still up 30 supplies, so I think that's pretty good. Got his third base up and running in the meantime, killed a lot of the Lurkers. So I'm not saying this is bad for worst by any means. I actually think it went really well for him. Lots of Zealots and High Templar coming up behind this. A little bit light on storms right now. We're at 3. Nice storm on the Hydra here on the left. Gets a lot of damage done. Still 2 more storms remaining. Another great storm on these clumped Lurkers, hitting 3 Lurkers at once. And I believe we have no storms left. Additional High Templar coming in with 1 more storm. I get that retreating storm here on top of these Hydra. But Wizard doing a good job of holding on so far, but you kind of see like every time Worst he comes out and trades the storms, he trades with his army. And what's he doing that's behind this, right? He's securing another expansion. Fighting away from the Lurkers with his army, making the Zerg fight uphill a little bit. So trading as well as he can hope for. We did finish our 2-2. And we got that 3rd armor on the way. Wizard is going to take this top left expansion, which can start to get a little bit scary when they get on that double gas. Hive is done. I didn't see if we have Adrenal or not. We're getting Ling upgrades as well as armor upgrades, so we're going to be getting our first Ling attack, which is super important because it doesn't really matter if you have Adrenal. If Protoss is on 3 armor and you don't have any upgrades on your Lings, they're doing 1 damage. So we don't really care if you have Adrenal if you don't have attack upgrades to go with it. Nice storm on these lurkers, and yeah, one thing you'll see is a storm plus 1 goon shot will kill a lurker. So we're identifying there's 2 clump lurkers there, 1 storm, 2 shots with the goons, and 2 lurkers go down. So good awareness from Worst punishing that. The probe transfer coming down here at the 4th base. Cannons are on the way, but not quite up yet. We got 5 Lings coming towards the Zealot, but the Zealot actually can't hold this with these upgrades very easily. Probe even taking down 1 Ling. Helping his boy hold the door. So Protoss back on 2 base mining right now. That's usually when you're pretty happy as Protoss. Especially if we can deny this top left would be huge for Worst. They're going to be mining out on 2 of his bases relatively soon. But, I mean, worker count for Zerg looks pretty healthy. We're on 63 workers. We got this 5th base done. Defiler Mound on the way. So getting into late game PvZ, which I was going to say typically means Reavers coming up as well, which we do see the Robo support bay down. We're going to see the robotics facilities coming down at the expos just to make Reavers. Reavers on ramps with cannons, Zealot, Storm. An absolute nightmare for Zerg to try and bust. Looks like we're gonna be in for the long haul this game, guys. Gonna be pushing towards the top left base here. We do have a little bit of a lurker defense set up. We have a Spore on the way for sniping these Observer. 1 Observer does go down, and only 1 Observer left now. Gotta be a little bit careful here. Kind of hard to get down this ramp into this bunch of lurkers coming to reinforce as well, so we're gonna see some nice storms. Hits 2 of these lurkers. This one gonna hit, what, 3 lurkers? Almost 4. So yeah, really good storms here on top of these lurkers, cleaning a lot of these lurkers up. That being said, Worst supply down below the Zerg now, which starts getting pretty scary. Yeah, just trying to come down this ramp is too difficult, right? Getting throttled way too much trying to come down this ramp, this tiny little ramp. So, I mean, Wizard's starting to get into a really good position now. He's on that 5th base. We got our Defiler Mount done. We got Plague on the way. I didn't see if any Defiler came out. We do have 1 building right now. So it looks like that is going to be our first Defiler. But we're just going up to another base of his own. And, I mean, if he's on 5 base versus 5 base Zerg, this is still great for Protoss. He can trade very efficiently, so even though supply does still look good for Zerg, we are on the 3-3 upgrades as Protoss. We've got potential Reaver tech coming out here. We do have at least 1 defensive Reaver here. Got this gateway here for making High Templar as well. And I expect we'll see another Robo or 2 get thrown down at this base. Both for defending and potentially attacking it at the same time. Got a potential Storm drop here set up on the right side. See how much we can get done. Defiler's starting to get some energy from their units here. Storm's gonna go down, kill a handful of these drones. Still at 60 drones though. Gonna load up and start flying around the map, seeing what he can find. I mean, there's not really any Hydras or Scourge in position to stop this shuttle, so gonna force a transfer at least here from Wizard. Probably gonna have to happen again here at this base if we're paying attention. And it looks like we're actually not, so really nice storm. Clears pretty much the entire mineral line with just 2 storms. 1 High Templar gonna get left behind, even gonna throw his storm out with his dying breath. Shuttle barely actually gonna get through here. In the meantime, we see kind of this push coming down here. Nice storms. I mean, overall we killed, what, probably 25-ish drones, so really good storm drops here from worst across the board. Knocking Wizard down to 43. You know, main base mined out, natural mined out. Not even mining our third right now because of this transfer. This base got cleaned up, so he does have a bank, so it's not that big of a deal right now, but definitely wants to fix his mining relatively soon because he doesn't have enough of a bank to replace his army if it gets cleaned up. We're waiting for the storm before, or the burrow before throwing down the storm to get maximum damage, so great storm from where it's going to be able to clean all of these lurkers up. Trading that for the zealots, 100% worth it for worst. And Wizard looks like he's in a bit of disarray. I mean, these storm drops did a lot of kind of residual damage, right? Wizard's a little bit scattered now. Trying to get his stuff back in order. Hang on one second. I'm gonna put the dog up. It's been barking like this whole cast. I don't know if it's picking up too much or not for you guys, but yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. All right, continuing on. I did unmute, right? Yeah, okay. We got 2 Reaver down here with a bunch of High Templar. I might just continue pumping High Templar and kind of using this as a staging point for storm drops. I kind of like that idea. Lots of High Templar coming out for worse now. Just very, very efficient. Mineral efficient units. Oh, sorry, I missed another storm here. Looks like we had some High Templar that kind of tucked in the top left. Got a lot more drone kills. I mean, Wizard's drone count looks fine, but we're not hardly mining, right? We got way too much here at the third base right now, which is about to be mined out. And the situation is starting to look pretty bad, actually, for Wizard. A storm, unfortunately, going to kill both of our observers. Storm is the ultimate observer killer. It's not the Hydras, it's not the Scourge, it's our own size Storm. A lot of Hydra Lurker Ling coming down the middle here. I think we have, we got 3 Defiler here, not with much energy, but of course they can consume and get the energy as they need. Worst does see this coming, and here we're probably going to see some pretty nice storm efficiency. A lot of goons coming down from the top side as well. We don't have an observer with our army, though. We got this one observer here that we seem to have kind of forgotten about. Okay, here we go. Observer coming from the top with the goons. In the meantime, little weak backstab here, but there's zealots here with the cannons to kind of protect them from the swarm. some storms if we need it. And yeah, Wizards economy not looking great right now. We're still pretty decently mining on 3 base, 2 of them getting a little bit low. But his army looking extremely efficient, pretty big bank as well. And honestly, from here, there's not enough money on the map. Well, is there? I guess it depends how well Worst defends, but we're getting close to that point where there's not enough money left on the map for Zerg to even kill Protoss anymore. Yeah, there's our Robo coming down at this base. And Worst just going to be as efficient as he can here. Some big storm opportunities, and yeah, there it is. On top of those Lings, on top of that Lurker. They're probably going to go down. It does get a Plague, but unfortunately for Wizard, only hits 2 of the Dragoons. But the Lurker's trading pretty efficiently against the Zealots, at least. Yeah, all this going to get cleaned up. And, I mean, we just see it, right? Worst gains, you know, 1,500 minerals during that attack. Wizard supply pretty decently below max, no bank anymore. Not really mining, like I said, super efficiently. This top left base, only a few drones. This base, literally 1 drone on the minerals right now. Finally getting our 3-3 upgrades, even getting a feedback on top of this Defiler and killing that Defiler, which is nice. Unfortunately, we felt like that was all that Archon was made for, and he deserved to die after the fact. Gonna jump on top of this Reaver, but I mean, that was an expensive Reaver for Wizard to kill. And it just feels like the game is slipping further and further away from Wizard. Just looking for whatever value he can right now. Very smart from Worst, just gonna play the grind him out and value game. Happy with the amount of bases that he got. You have Guardians coming down for Wizard here to try and target this base down. But a lot of storm here. What is this? We got 3 high temp bar with 3 storms each, so we're at 9 storms for these 3 Guardians right now. Not very scary for Worst. Maybe annoying, but not scary. Like he might go for this bus, which is actually unfortunate for Worst because we're leaving with our Reavers right now. Actually targets down the Nidus Canal, I kind of like that. Yeah, and then coming with his army from the top. Pretty good play, gets a bunch of the Dragoons there. And there's not really a way for us to deal with these Lurkers. Our Observer is pretty late. We have no Zealots left. We only have these Reavers now, which are a little bit exposed. Actually, very exposed. And, okay, both Reavers not quite going to go down. But one Reaver very low on HP. Wizard is going to be able to clean this up at least. Oh, we were storming the Guardians? Okay, my bad. So we stormed the Guardians here at this base. I was like, what are we shooting here? But I mean, Worst. 6,500 minerals in the bank right now. Wizard down below 1,000 at 165 supply. Gonna try and come up this ramp. Nice Plague on top of all these cannons, but there's a lot of storms here to try and deflect this. Yeah. Yeah, it's just tough for Zerg to bust, and, you know, even if he did bust it, there's actually no reason for him to be trying this. This base is completely mined out now. There is nothing of value to be gained here from Wizard. Gonna come in with this Reaver Storm Drop. Gonna storm up a few drums we do have here. Like I said, I mean, Worst doesn't even care if this base dies. He's just defending it to get the value. I mean, Wizard shouldn't be trying, but there's no minerals here. This is the only mining base left for Wizard to try and claim and take away from Worst. And honestly, to win, he He kind of has to. I think if this gets mined out, I mean, I guess there is still a lot of money left on the map though for Wizard, but I don't think it's enough at this point. He has not been trading well enough. And it's not going to get better either. He kind of luckily hasn't had to fight Reavers up a ramp yet, or defensive Reavers, but I mean, trying to break this might not look like a whole lot, but this can hold so much Zerg, it's insane. We're just going to continue pressuring here on this side. I mean, if he clears this base up, then it's pretty much all but over. Some Reavers slow crawling their way up here. A bunch of lurkers coming out now, but they're pretty bunched. We do storm our observer again, but we do have this backup observer at least. Nidus Canal goes down, all the lurkers get cleaned up. Actually, no, there is one more lurker, sorry. Unfortunately, we needed our Reaver to kill it, and we just lost our Observer, so... I guess this lurker, in theory, defends. In the meantime, another attempted bust, and you see what I mean, right? Like, we killed a few zealots. And this whole army goes down. Killed, what, a few zealots, 2 cannons. Wizard supply dipping lower and lower. Worst supply, unmoving. Bank ever growing. Unfortunately for Wizard, the Swarm not going to help the Lings with the Reavers and Zealots. And yeah, I think that pretty much does it for this game. We're just waiting for Wizard to realize this is no longer winnable. You know, he doesn't know how big Worst Bank is exactly. He might be thinking it's close. He's got this little bit of mining left, you know. He's like, Protoss hasn't really outmined me. But, yeah, just... It's just always going to be this way. Zerg never going to trade efficiently against Protoss late game. It's too difficult. Storm and Reaver too strong. Maybe kind of a last attempt at a backstab here. Hoping to catch some army out, and he is, you know. He's going to get a pretty good trade here, catch a bunch of this off. Really losing very little in the process for it, but it's just not going to be enough. He has so much money to dig through. It's Reaver even left here, going to be cleaning all this up. I mean, we're just going for it. I mean, Wizard, sorry, but... I mean, even if he kills all this and gets into the main and kills it, it doesn't really matter. You can make some gateways here. And just keep hurtling here, but... I mean, he has kind of random gateways here and there. I mean, it would be tough, obviously, right? Because then Worst can't spend his money, but I mean, Wizard's bank is so low and supply is so low, it just doesn't matter. Even if Worst didn't build more units, I don't think Worst can die anymore. Gotta mine out the last of this base. And now there's just one base with money left. Pretty much. GG is not called. And we're just gonna take this game too. I just realized my scoreboard was off this entire time. We'll get it up for the next game. What's up, Open Hand? Okay, go black screen. All right. Almost done with series 1 of 3 tonight. So the game is just called Sworn. Let me look at this while we get... Wait for some of the early game here.
Peggy 16.
Peggy 16. Oh, it's like very Hades looking. I see. This actually just feels like a total ripoff of Hades. Oh, it seems to be a lot more in depth actually than Hades, I guess.
Peggy 16.
Why is it doing it again? Okay. I'll add it to my list of mini games that I need to play. I have a serious backlog. I need to be streaming like 10 hours a day. Okay, guys, we're hopping into game 3 here of Worst versus Wizard. Wizard spawning here in the top right, Worst in the bottom right. I wasn't paying attention, so forgive me, it looks like. Overpool? It's like Overpool, yeah? This looks like Overpool. I believe. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But yeah, definitely a little bit different opening from Wizard at least. Let me turn the replay progress off. We're scrambling. Looks like Worst did get that first scout again. Or... Yeah, sorry, I really wasn't paying attention. We probably double scouted. That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, I guess that 1313 Nexus and Cannon, which is the proper response to an Overpool. So, slightly different opening from Wizard this time, not going for that 9 pull like he did the last 2 games. Going for that quick third base. Pretty standard stuff so far. Was this 2 links for Wizard, which is the proper response to Forge Expand as well. You don't need that 4 links because there's no Zealot coming, so you just kind of want to make the 2 links to chase the Pro Brown, try to pick it off. straight into lair for Wizard. Which so far the previous 2 games has just been to make a couple Scourge and not really anything else. We've seen no Muta play. Not a single Muta has been made so far. Go Wizard, cries out Ice Princess. Always biased towards the Zerg players. You get the pro pick off, which is nice. That's the first time we see Worst losing that pro pretty early. He's typically done a very good job of keeping alive for as long as possible. Stargate coming down at a very reasonable time. For Zealot coming across the map. But there are already 4 lings out. Looks like Worst takes a bit of free damage there, so can end up losing this potentially. Does actually get 2 ling kills because of both good micro and this 1 ling missing from Wizard, so even though it initially started off pretty bad for Worst, is at least going to get 2 kills, come back home, regenerate a little bit, and maybe push back out with a 3rd Zealot is usually what you'll see. We are supply blocked though, unfortunately, so 3rd Zealot not going to be started, so we're just going to go with these 2. Both lings getting 1 hit away. Of course, they're starting up now. Spire, about a 1/3 of the way done. Gotta be careful with this weak Zealot, could get picked off very quickly. 6 more lings on the way for Wizard as well, so this is already doing pretty good damage. And yeah, this is basically a fake from Worst. Or not really a fake, but it's like, hey, I'm coming out to pressure, you better make some Zerglings, and then you turn back around. Especially with that 3rd Zealot getting delayed because of that supply block. And yeah, 2 Zealots not really that threatening. The typical kind of scarier breakpoints for Zerg is the 3 Zealot and 5 Zealot. Yeah, we're just doing a good job with just a couple Zealots, getting pretty good value. You know, killed 2 lings, forced a bunch more lings, came back home without losing anything. Just some, I guess like half the HP. Actually, a little bit more than that, yeah. About a quarter, 3/4 of the HP for that 1 Zealot, but not the end of the world. Once again, we see that 2nd gateway going down to the natural. He's done this every game. Of course, they're gonna get this first Overlord kill, and Scourge not gonna be popping super soon, so gonna be able to get this Overlord and leave. And we'll see if he wants to start Hydra production on that 5 hatch again, like he did the previous 2 games. Seems to be the build that he favors quite a bit. And that is what we are going to see. Hydra production starting at 32 drones. Pretty much the same. I mean, just pretty much the exact same thing from Wizard every time. This time we just didn't do the 9 pool. But definitely a big fan of that 5 hatch Hydra pressure. Although he didn't really use it to pressure last game either. We'll see what he wants to do this game. We're once again stopping at that 3+1 Sares. Pushing out the speed lots. Looks like, I don't know if Wizard got supply blocked maybe. Our Hydra count's very, very low this time for this pressure. Actually a little bit dangerous if Worst decides to go in here. There's only 3 Hydra here. Oh, we actually were going up to, sorry, we went up to 6 hatch, sorry. And we did make additional drones, so he actually was doing a little bit different this game. Pretty good drone drill to try and block for those Hydras. Ling's gonna get cleaned up very easily. We do have +1 on these Zealots, so they're just gonna be 2-hitting the Zerglings. And they're also killing Hydras 1 hit faster as well, getting on top of these eggs with the hatching Hydra. So trading really, really well are these Zealots. And now these Hydras are at risk of getting cleaned up, so it's pretty much time for these drones to leave. Although really good drilling actually, making it very difficult for them, the last couple Hydra to get cleaned up. And I would say this went pretty well for Worst. I mean, we killed a bunch of Hydra. We weren't mining that entire time at the 3rd base as Zerg. We killed, I think, just 1 drone, but The big thing was killing a bunch of these Hydra and stopping a lot of the mining, so Zerg down at 39 drones right now compared to the 48 of Protoss, and not really any Hydras on the map to pressure. Behind this, we were building up our High Templar count, so we got our 4, banking a lot of energy. Probably getting that energy upgrade, we are. Yeah, he seems to be pretty fond of this. Rebuild our drones up to 43. We're stopping at 52. Feel like this is a pretty good worker count. Getting his double forge, plus an armor. Gonna be finishing relatively soon. And yeah, supply looking pretty good for worst right now. I mean, he's just... I would say this game he's in the best position he's been in so far. Seems like each game has just gone progressively better and better for worst. Yeah, and we also did not have to make a bunch of cannons this time, right? That's another big thing for worst. Last game we made 5 or 6 cannons, I believe. That never came into use. Surprisingly, starting our +2 attack before our +2 armor. Don't see that very often. Probably just a mistake from worst. Goons finishing up. I believe our range just now finished. And not a lot of Hydras here to threaten worst at all. Gonna break down this gateway saying, hey Hydras, you're taking way too long. Let me help you with that. And no lurkers out here, so this is not scary for worst. I mean, we have a lot of energy banked up again, right? We're looking at 6 total storms coming up on a couple more as well. Oh, 7 storms even with this Templar back here. Only 5 lurkers out here right now. We're just looking to try and get as much value as he can, just being very cautious. Bunch of lurkers got morphed back at home. Let's do attack on the way for Zerg. Gotta be careful with these High Templar. These are pretty high energy High Templar. One goes down, second goes down. It's a lot of storms. Also, both observers going down. I mean, those like 5-6 Hydra just did so much work. Lurkers are pretty unguarded though, so the gun's gonna very easily push forward and clean up a bunch of these. Few zealots even going for a little bit of a wraparound. Maybe gonna head towards that 12 o'clock base. Sorry, I got distracted by my cat digging through something. But yeah, big storms here on the right side, gonna clean up a lot of these Hydras. I mean, we're sub 50 supply right now. This actually just might be the end of the game. Very little here from Wizard to stop this. Big storm on top of these lurkers. Again, cleaning all of this up. Gonna take out this base, no problem. Some reinforcements coming from these 2 bases, but Wizard's supply, he's almost doubled in supply right now. The +2 attack did finish for both players. And yeah, I mean, this is going to get cleaned up, and there's just nothing left to defend Wizard anymore. We are out of storms, but we just killed everything. So this is one of those moments where you can push forward, but it's hard to know that. Easy for me as the observer. A lot of reinforcements here for worst. And kind of hesitating a little bit. He is actually going to fall back. This is kind of what I was saying. Like, you don't know, right? He knows he's out of storms. He got burned last time he overpushed. But he sees how small this army is, and he might actually just pull the trigger. Well, wanting to play safe. Gonna wait for his storms. He does have one storm done, second storm almost ready. And yeah, it's just kind of funny. This is what I mentioned, right? Like, you don't want to overpush, because it happened last game. And then now, yeah, I think Worst kind of learned his lesson from the previous game. Just wants to be extra safe. We had a really good fight. We don't want our army to get cleaned up. And end up losing a game, or at least making it a lot harder than it has to be. So I respect that from Worst. It's easier for me, like I said, as the observer to see, hey, you could have gone and killed him. There's nothing left, but yeah, as the player, it's just too hard to tell. I think in general, this is the correct call. Yeah, nice storm on top of these Hydra with this energy that we banked up, right? So gonna get another good storm hitting 3 of these lurkers as well. Additional storms joining the fight from below. Could lose one more observer, but we have 2 more back behind. Another nice storm. And yeah, we're going to clean this up. And this might just do it for Wizard. I could see him tapping out here pretty soon. Making these into Archons. Additional Zealots. I mean, look how big our army is now, right? Like, we just cleaned up everything again. We're at 150 supply to 70 now. Gonna push through here, clean all this up. Think we're gonna keep going. We see just these little remnants of army coming out now. These look like the rallies. GG is called, and we're just gonna take this series 2-1. Okay. Okay, next up we have Love Snow versus Goose. Oh wait, no, I don't have those games yet. So Dexter versus Jiraiya, I guess. Does Zerg want to find open map? Typically, yes. They usually do. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the game state, obviously, but in general, Zerg prefers to fight on the open. Yeah, if you're really far behind, then you can try to turtle, but usually if you're just turtling a Zerg, it's not great either. Okay. So we're doing Dexter versus Jiraiya. Which is another PVZ, actually. He does it like that, I believe. And of course they do it on the wrong map. Why not? Not TVB. Alright guys, hopping into game 1 here of Jiraiya versus Dexter. Show me lowercase's name. Actually, that's fine, who cares. Okay, so these guys, if this is the correct order, but this is not the correct map, they were supposed to play on Metropolis. And they also didn't host TVB. Here's an interesting thing, a pattern that I've noticed. Every player that, or every series where they hosted the wrong maps, they also didn't host TVB. Is that a coincidence or not? Not so sure. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna get that gate expand from Dexter, so we're gonna be looking for that early Zealot pressure. See what pull timing Jiraiya wants to go for. Typically, you do see overpull being the general build, but here we are not going to be going for that. Looks like we're actually going for the 12 hatch. You don't see 12 hatch too often in this matchup, I don't feel. So there will be potentially some opportunity for Dexter to get some pressure with these Zealots. Yeah, pull coming down as the Zealot is about a third of the way done. And he is going to be heading straight across. Is going to be happy to see that it's not crawl spawn. Crawl spawn on Radeon, definitely a very long rush distance. I believe by a decent margin, the longest rush distance of this map pool. Unfortunately, though, actually, because we get last scout, it's actually very dangerous to send your first Zealot straight across because if it's overpull or even something earlier, you can run into those lings coming across and you can just be in like really big trouble. If it's like 9 pull speed and you walk out and you hit 6 lings or something halfway across the map, it can be a total disaster. So because he didn't get the early scout, is actually going to stay home until he scouts him here. And when he sees the hatchery timing, is going to know. And so it's going to be 2 lings for Jiraiya, or sorry, 4 lings. And now the Zealots are going to be walking across with a third Zealot coming out behind it. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of pressure from the Zealots. Jiraiya going to have to make a lot of extra lings here. Yeah, he did at least scout it with the Overlord. Or the drone, rather. Or was it the Overlord? I don't know. He scouted it. I just know he scouted it. But only going up to 6 lings, actually, which is not enough for these 2 Zealots. And yeah, even gonna lose 2 Zealots immediately. I mean, this is a disaster start for Jiraiya now. We're down to 4 lings before the fight's even started, and there's 2 Zealots in our base with a probe, a 3rd Zealot about to join us. I mean, even by the time Jiraiya holds this, it feels like it's gonna be a nightmare for him. Even additional hits being done, additional damage being done to these Zerglings, and yeah, we're gonna interrupt a lot of the mining. Jiraiya gonna try and do a little bit of a drone drill. But I mean, look how little we're mining, right? While we're doing this, we have 3 drones mining. And now all these Zealots going to tuck behind here with a probe. Yeah, it would be a nightmare to ever dislodge. Zealots getting a pretty good fight on these lings. Going to clean all these lings up. And just more lings having to be made. A drone going down, a second drone going down. And yeah, more lings going to be getting cleaned up. Maybe even a 3rd drone just barely doesn't go down. Oh, actually. Yeah, losing 3 drones. I mean, look at it in the worker supply now, right? Like, we're up 10 probes to 12 drones. We're up 10, 22 to 12. And lair just now starting. Hydra Den is on the way. Idle drones here at the 3rd, I mean, and the probe's still running around being annoying, right? finally going to be able to clean it up is Jiraiya, but yeah, we're in a pretty tough spot now. The Hydrodin, yeah, okay, I was going to say the Hydrodin into a lair definitely felt like some panic. He realizes that he does cancel the lair at least, but we don't have the economy to even afford Hydras right now. But is going to start making those Hydra. We got 4 Zealots, 1 cannon here. Dexter definitely feeling really, really good. It was a fake? Oh, yeah, sorry, I guess you're right. It was a fake. Did we? I guess we didn't see the Hydrodin? I wasn't even paying attention to that. Maybe Dexter didn't see the Hydrodin. Actually, he definitely didn't, right? Yeah, you're right. This was a fake. Sorry. That makes more sense. I didn't realize the layer started before the drone or the probe died. I actually thought it was like right after, but yeah, that makes much more sense. Of course, they're going to be playing across the map and is going to spot the, hey, you have no drones here. Going to come in here and say, hey, you have no layer here. And it should be fully aware. I expect we're going to see those cannons coming down. And there it is. It's a little bit scary, though, at 4 Dexter right now, because he doesn't know. He doesn't know how many Hydras are out here. He doesn't know what the upgrade progression is. He's just now starting cannons, and this can feel very scary for Protoss. Yeah, I think he might have had a window, but he didn't have, was it speed? I think he didn't have the Hydro grades. There's so many Zealots here, though. I mean, yeah, it's going to be tough to get to these cannons with all these Zealots in the way. Going to break 1 cannon, 2nd cannon, maybe going to go down, but we've lost so many Hydras, we can't even fight the Zealots anymore. Light speed just about done as well. Gonna try and micro as best he can, but Lightspeed's gonna be finishing up right now. And then, yeah, the micro becomes much more difficult. That being said, we did clean up pretty much all the Zealots now. Jiraiya doing as good as you could hope for here. Only 1 cannon here. Is Dexter actually in trouble? Dexter might die here. All the Zealots go down. There's 1 cannon left. 1 just about to finish. This hold is getting incredibly close. Another cannon goes down right before another one finishes. 2 probes getting picked off. Gonna jump on top of this cannon, surely. The SimCity, though, working pretty well for Dexter, but yeah, next cannon goes down. I think Jiraiya is actually pulling this off. Does have these 2 cannons finishing up in the back. Jiraiya pushing forward, trying to target this cannon down, but losing a lot of Hydra. Oh my god, we need to go back for it too. 2nd cannon finishing. And I think Dexter just barely is going to hold. That actually got incredibly close. DT comes out, gonna push the Hydras back a little bit, but there is this Overlord that did make it across the map. DT does go down, but we're at 3 cannons now with 4 and 5 on the way. I was gonna say, we don't have storms yet. Storm just now started as our first High Templar comes out, so we're very far away from getting storms. Might even need to make more cannons, to be honest with you, but the Forge went down actually, so we can't make any more. And Jiraiya just continuing to make the Hydras with the 19 drones he has. Gonna try and jump forward. There's a lot of speed lots here in the way, though. with all these cannons, and yeah, this Hydra army is going to get melted. And GG, Jiraiya made it a lot closer than I thought he was going to. Okay, this time it's the correct map, which makes me wonder if that was the second game we just watched. Guess we will find out soon enough. Could have pulled back and droned up. I don't think so. Even after those probe kills, he was down, like what, like 10, 15 workers, something like that. I mean, you can try, but I think it's way too hard. Yeah, I don't think it was enough. Unless Zerg is basically getting ahead on workers. At the very least even. Because the issue isn't just the worker count, it's the tech, right? We're on hatchery layer, we're on hatchery tech versus high Templar tech. You know what I mean? We have no Evo, we have no lurkers or anything like that. And high Templar are already ready to come out, so it's just trying to play from there is... It's almost impossible for Zerg. Because think about it, he'd have to drone up, he'd kill those probes, he'd go back, he would drone up. Protoss is building up Zealot Storm, right? And your army is not growing, your tech is, you're starting lair, you're working towards your lurker, your Hydras are +0. Like it's just, well, it wasn't out, it was though. The Archives was pretty much done. When you see Zealot speed, it means Templar Archives is done. If it's not, then Protoss screwed up horribly. He just wasn't making Templar because he was scrambling to stay alive. Alright guys, hopping into game 3. No, sorry, game 2. Hopping into game 2 here of Dexter versus Jiraiya. We have, looks like it's 9 pull speed. Yeah, 9 pull speed from Jiraiya versus the Gate Expand from Dexter. Dexter once again going to get the last scout. So hopefully for him, his Zealot does not come out on the map, but it actually is coming out, which is very, very dangerous. And this is pretty much the exact scenario that I was talking about why you don't send your Zealot out. But if this is game 2, then good from Jiraiya. You know, he went 9 or 12 hatch game 1. Dexter did punish that with the Zealot, or did not come out with the Zealots right away, but did end up getting the punish anyway. But Jiraiya now jumping on top of the Zealot might actually be a missed opportunity. And gonna try and run straight into the main base, and ooh, 2 Zerglings getting caught trying to get up the ramp. 1 very low on HP, so this is a really bad start for Jiraiya already. We're down 2 Lings and we've done no damage. 1 Zealot gonna stay back here in the mineral line. 2nd Zealot gonna be finishing up here at the front. Because he killed those 2 Zealots, he can kind of do this with his 2nd Zealot coming out. He can now take this fight. Speed does finish up. Another Ling goes down. Unfortunately, the weakest Ling, the one to get hit there. Jiraiya gonna try and be annoying, but we've done essentially 0 damage so far. Gonna kill maybe our first probe. Actually, not even gonna get that there. And yeah, this is a disaster start for Jiraiya. Nice drill with the probes here too, kind of catching him here at the ramp. 1 probe finally goes down, but I mean, we're up 17 to 8 workers right now. Built the Forge in the main. I actually kind of like it in this scenario. Wants to make sure the Forge doesn't get killed. The Ling's already inside of his base with Storm. with speed. Tries to get a cannon there, does get canceled immediately, but I mean, all the lings go down. We have one ling that immediately dies to the probes that were just sitting here waiting to get instructions. And this game already looking unplayable for Jiraiya. 7 workers to 20 now. Gonna kill maybe a second probe, I believe. The rally of lings continuing to just go in and die. Going up to 3 hatch here with our 7 drones and continuing lings, but I mean, we got cannon gonna be finishing up. This one ling gonna have to do God's work. Needs to kill about 10 probes to make this playable. And Jiraiya just continuing to mass ling here at this point. Knows that there's no way he's macroing out of this. Gonna try and get maybe a cheeky run by or something. Dexter very good with the zealot production off this one gateway, by the way. He did not miss a beat. I mean, he's at 6 zealots right now. Probe gonna chase this ling down. I don't know if Dexter saw these lings coming, or if this was just an early transfer. But either way, I don't think he needs it, honestly. We have so many zealots here. Yeah, Jiraiya just continuing to mass ling, hoping to catch Dexter making a mistake. Not showing all the additional links back here, just showing this kind of these initial links. Dexter, however, going to be very smart, just waiting for his Corsair, not pushing out too far. Even making a Dragoon to go for this Overlord so that the Corsair can go straight across the map. I absolutely love this play from Dexter. Knows that getting the scouting information is incredibly important. So he's like, I want to kill this Overlord that you're leaving here, but I don't want to get caught off guard by Muta. I want to see what you're doing. And Jiraiya sees that Corsair coming and he knows he's going to have to make something happen. He can't wait. He's just going to try and pull the trigger now. That being said, we're not really optimally plugging here with our Zealots. Would love to see the probes come off the line. But actually, probes are going to come off the line, but probably not even needed, it looks like. Corsair coming back saying, hey, what are you guys doing over here? And all these lings going to get cleaned up, and Jiraiya surely will GG. And there it is. A 2-0 for Dexter. Okay, well, I did not get the other replays. So I'm probably just going to call the round of 32 here. So it means just to kind of summarize what's gone on here. So every series got casted, I guess, except for Love, Snow, and Goose. I just never got the replays. So whatever. It's fine. Unfortunately, a few of my replays, or my recordings got corrupted, which was Aether versus Zen, Law versus Moonrai, and Range versus Tank. Those recordings got corrupted, so they're not going to get uploaded to YouTube. They did get casted, but I don't think I was even able to stream them. Actually, yeah, they were cast off stream, so you guys will just never know. Yeah, You'll never be able to watch, rather. I could post the bracket, but we're pretty far behind on the bracket. We're actually up to the semifinals right now, so I'm trying to knock out a bunch of the cast. So that's part of why I did this today. So we're gonna call this the round of 32 over right now. I'll start casting the round of 16 tomorrow, and then I'll cast the quarterfinals. Well, I guess I'll be casting the round of 16 and quarterfinals over the next few days. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, possibly Monday. Depends how many people I get to help me with casting, because I do lose my voice pretty quickly. But yeah, we'll try and get it all done, because we want to live cast the semifinals and finals. So we're trying to get everything caught up before then. But that's going to do it for the casting now. I'm going to stop the stream and probably restart it in a few minutes. I'm going to play something. I don't know. We'll play a little bit before I go to bed. But thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the cast. And I'll be back in like 10-ish minutes or less. Peace. Yeah, so I looked at it during the cast. I don't know if you saw, but I might give it a shot. It looks like very Hades, but it seems like there's a lot more depth to like growing your characters and stuff, which was one thing that I felt like Hades was lacking personally. So yeah, I'll be back in a little bit, just a few minutes.